everyone. So in today's video, I am back to talk about another viral hyped up item, which is the Milk Makeup Cooling Water Jelly Tint. This product definitely has exploded in the beauty scene, and in today's video, I wanted to give you all a look at this makeup item and let you know if it's actually worth it. This is within a series on my channel where I compare viral makeup items to other similar products so that you guys can ultimately find the best item for you despite what is selling out and what is being hyped up. I really hope you all enjoyed the deep dives into all of these items, the comparisons, the demos, all of that good stuff. So if you do, hi, my name's Amanda. I would love to have you back, so make sure to subscribe, especially if you enjoy more detail-oriented reviews, and give this video a thumbs up if you do find it helpful. Okay, but let's just jump into the Milk Makeup Cooling Water Jelly Tint. Wow, when I saw Milk Makeup splash onto the scene with this item, I had a feeling that this was going to be popular. The first thing that stuck out to me though, before I could really get a sense of this texture, was the marketing behind the product. I think that Milk Makeup just did in general a very good job. Just the images really captured me. Ultimately, like, there is a bit of a kitschy kind of quality to this item. I certainly want to eat it. I mean, to me, it looks like the cranberry that you get out of a can on Thanksgiving Day. And I almost always destroy the cranberry in a can and like cut it up and just like do my own ASMR before dinner even starts. So I can understand why everyone's like, I want to eat it. I want to chop it up. Like, I don't know. I understand that, just being completely honest here. But other than how enticing the texture is and enticing the marketing is, for me, and what I like to focus on here on my channel is the performance and the actual formula, because in my opinion, formula is number one. It comes in 4 different shades. You get 0.17 ounces of product and it retails for $24. All of that I'm good with. I actually have the shade Chill here, and Chill is what is on my cheeks as well as my lips. I can apply a little bit more for you guys in a second. Within the swatches I've seen of the entire range, some of the shades do seem redundant, but this shade in particular I find really pretty. It's this kind of like strawberry red shade. What I found particularly interesting about the Cooling Water Jelly Tint was the ingredients list. First of all, it's mainly water and glycerin based. It also has sorbitol, which is essentially like a stabilizer for a formula. It helps a lot of like lotions and gels come together. Butylene glycol, which is again more of like an emollient, humectant, and aloe leaf juice, niacinamide. I mean, for me, this is definitely reading as a skincare kind of texture. I was particularly interested in understanding what was kind of giving this the gelatin quality. PVM MA copy polymer, which is like a film former or a binder. There are a few ingredients in here that obviously I think do give it this more jelly texture, but it's probably a combination of all of them. So let's talk about the formula and application here. Something that right off the bat I don't recommend doing, and even Milk Makeup shows the product being used in this way, and I would absolutely not recommend doing it this way. I don't think that you should be taking this and swiping it directly onto the cheeks. Onto the lips, I don't really see any issue with doing that, but directly onto the cheeks, you're just not going to get a great blend because this is a product that stains pretty effectively. This is the finger that I used to give you guys a little swatch. I was doing like some B-roll earlier today. It's still stained and it's been, I don't know, like at least an hour and a half. So with that in mind, I don't think that anyone should be swiping this directly onto the face. The best luck that I've had with application with this product is not just in the way I actually apply it to the skin, but also the other products that I am using. So I have found if I'm using a very occlusive moisturizer, if I'm going in with a really thick foundation, I don't think that this product is necessarily the best match. Because at the end of the day, this is such a thin product that it just gets along best with other thin items. However, I also think that this does well with moisture. So I'm not necessarily talking about creaminess and thickness. I think thinness is better to go with this item, but a general sense of moisture on the skin does better with this than I think a more velvety matte finish as far as products go. When I'm using those kind of items with this, I find that I can actually get away with multiple ways of application. Probably the safest bet as far as application that I've used is using a damp sponge. You can see this product will stain your sponges and this is never going to look the same. Take with that what you will. I'm not like really worried about it, but I understand how it would be annoying for some people. Taking a damp sponge into this item and then onto the cheeks, it helps you get more playtime with the product. And even though I do find that the sponge definitely shears this out a little bit, it does make for a really seamless, thin, true like stained cheek look. And I find that I'm getting a really natural like blushing from within look when I do use that application. However, if I really want to amp up the pigment of this product, that's when I'll go in with a brush. And today for like the demos, I used a sheer layer with the sponge and then I went in back with the brush just to amp up the color a little bit. My lights are looking a little bright today, so I am gonna apply a little bit more just to, you know, let you guys get the full effect of the blush. You can absolutely layer this on and it will keep building pigment. And the texture I do find to have this kind of water cooling feel on the skin and not in like a menthol kind of way or like an irritating way. So that was a pleasant surprise for me. I don't think that you should be buffing this into the skin. I think pressing it on with a brush or with a sponge is probably your best bet. The thing is though is, you know, as I've continued to use it, I think that there is like a learning curve to it. I don't think it is the most user-friendly product necessarily. I think if you are a fan of like a really thin kind of glowier base and you're looking to add a cheek stain into that look, I see this really working well. However, if you are a fan of a more perfected look, if most of your foundations tend to lean silicone heavy, now I'm not saying you can't use this product with a product with silicones in it, but I do think that this works best with more like thin water-based items rather than really velveteen, blurring, silicone heavy items. And I think that is just due to the texture and also this kind of formula. And in my humble opinion, I think that comes with its pros and its cons. Is this like the easiest product to work with that I've ever used? Certainly, I don't think so. Will I continue to wear it? Yes. And the main reason I will continue to wear it is that I see it being a really pretty product, especially in the summer. And the reason being is that it's very thin. It does not feel like any product on the skin once it's on, and it lasts really well. And I think that that is ultimately what will make this a product that people continue to go back to. I almost forgot to talk about how the Milk Makeup applies on the lips as well. I recommend using a lip balm, applying it, letting it sit, you know, like at the beginning of your routine, and then applying this right on top. I think you're just going to get the most consistent look on the lips that way. And I didn't even really try and test it any other way because I don't really see a purpose. Because for me, as someone with chronically dry lips, I know that that's how I'm going to get the most consistent applications. I will say, like, upon reapplication, you can like really build up the color and it gives you that really pretty like K-beauty kind of lip stained look. I think it applies really well as like a lip and a cheek stain, honestly. But again, I think it's important to prep the lips with really any lip stain. Some people really have trouble getting their blush to last on the skin. And a formula like this, when you slowly build up that blushing pigment, I do think that you're going to get a long wear look. However, I wanted to ask you all the main product you wanted me to compare this to, and it was benetint from Benefit, as well as the water blush from Undone. And I actually have another option that I'm going to compare it to as well. That's my own personal pick. But let's first start off with the Undone Beauty water blush. Now I have mine in the shade Cherry. Comes in 4 shades. You get 0.19 ounces of product. And this is by far the cheapest item out of the bunch. It is $10. I think the shades are very pretty. I actually tried out the Undone Beauty water bronzer, oh God, a long time ago on my channel. Probably, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years ago, maybe longer. It was a product that I was really, really excited for, and I did not like it. So I never tried out this one, but again, a lot of people have been comparing this texture potentially to the one from Milk Makeup, which, by the way, yes, it's cooling. Yes, it has like this kind of cool feel on the skin. It is in a stick. It does come in these kind of staining shades, but this is not like a jelly texture. So if you're expecting a dupe within the jelly gummy range, like that's not gonna, this is not that item, and I don't have one in this video. However, formula is formula. When I was getting to know this product, and by the way, this is the product that I'm the least familiar with as far as all the products go for, including the milk. When I was trying it on and playing with it, I realized immediately using your fingers with this item is just a no-go, and using a sponge with it, at least a wet sponge, is just not, I just don't think it's very effective. I think a brush really works well with this because it's really able to pick up the product. Though this does have a decent amount of translucence and it does have this kind of cooling texture on the skin, formula-wise, this does rely on some silicones. And I notice that when I actually go to apply it onto the skin. It just has a touch of a creaminess, and occasionally the product wants to kind of stick together. You can see it maybe in like the first couple of demos, but if you're using a brush, it kind of melts down and it's not really an issue. I'm more so mentioning it because it does feel like that's, like I noticed the silicone in this product when I started to notice that happening. But overall, applying this with a brush like sheerly over the cheeks, it gives you a really similar effect to the Milk Makeup. It's just this pretty stained watercolor kind of effect that a lot of folks really love with lip and cheek stains. This isn't meant to be used as a lip stain, so I haven't really tested it as a lip and a cheek stain, but I think if you want a really pretty kind of wash of color on the cheeks, I think this is a really nice formula. However, because of the silicones, I find that it wants to sheer out pretty quickly, and I don't suspect that you're really going to be able to get a long wear stained effect with this product just because of the texture. It doesn't want to quickly stain the skin in the way of the Milk Makeup. So as far as application goes, this is probably going to be faster and easier for some people, but the longevity just isn't going to be as great. However, with the Milk Makeup, a little bit of a learning curve, it's going to last a little bit longer. I think it really just depends on your priority. I do like this one. However, let's get into the benetint. I'm gonna right off the bat say that I do recommend going with like benetint over like the Undone Beauty. Not that this is a bad product, but the benetint from Benefit is just a product that I know and love and have enjoyed for a really long time. And I love it because it is really easy to apply and it lasts on the skin. So benetint comes with 0.2 ounces of product for $24 in like the smaller bottle. You can also get the larger size, and it comes in a variety of shades as well. So there's benetint, which is the rose shade, but they also have like Cha-Cha Tint, which has been a favorite of mine for years, and then Love Tint. All of these will have more staying power than the Undone Beauty. I think the Milk Makeup is probably still going to last the longest just because the stain is so strong, but these are going to be much easier to work with, and I think they're just a little bit more user-friendly. You don't have to work to get like a watercolor effect with the benetint stains because they are already liquidy. So it's almost like this is the watercolor base that you need to add with water. I think that's a good way to look at it, whereas these already have water added to them. It really just depends on what you are looking for. And I will say that if you have a lot of creamier products in your collection, I think that the range from Benefit does better with thicker products, even though these are all relatively thin. I find that they do a good job of melting into other items. So in general, like if I need to make sure that my makeup is going to look good and I don't want to worry about like certain items and like, is this going to go with this? Layering makeup, you know, I will always simplify and go with a product that is just a little bit more versatile. So in these cases, I would reach for the benetint over the Milk Makeup. But I do have this kind of soft spot, I think, for the Milk Makeup just because I've consistently worn it and noticed throughout the day that it does just look like I have a very, very natural blush look going. It really doesn't look like a lot of makeup, and I tend to really enjoy products that don't look like a lot of makeup. And the last product I wanted to do a comparison of are the Rituel de Fille Color Nectar Pigment Balms. If you're not familiar with Rituel de Fille, they are a smaller brand that I have loved on my channel for a really long time. These are $26. They come in 5 different shades and you get 0.11 ounces of product in here. What I find really pretty about these balms is that though they look like they have a lot of emollients to them, once they go onto the skin, they leave more of a stained effect. And I find that these are really nice because they have the moisture built into them. So let's say you want to go with a little bit of a more velvety matte foundation, but you still want to get that kind of lip cheek stained effect on. This has the moisture that a good blend might need already built into it because it is a balm formula. It looks relatively translucent and jelly-like on the cheeks as well, but then it goes down to that more translucent stained effect, with the upside being that the texture is just generally easy to work with. I also find that they last really well on my cheeks, and they tend to be, you know, if I want that juicy popsicle look to my skin, I have consistently gone back to these and used them and have gotten a really pretty effect. They're not going to stain your sponges or your brushes either, which again, that is a downside to the Milk Makeup. I have noticed that it does that. I know that these aren't exactly a lip and cheek stain necessarily, but the way the pigments act on the skin and the finish, I thought it might be a good idea to recommend these as well to you all, especially if you have more mature skin or really dry skin. I would tend to lead you towards something like this over a heavily staining product like the one from Milk Makeup. Whereas I think if you have more oily skin, you could probably handle, your skin could probably handle the Milk Makeup one a little better because you have natural oils that help with a good blend. So do I think that you necessarily need this product from Milk Makeup? I think that you guys probably can infer by now that I don't think that you do, especially if you have like a product like benetint. It's going to be very similar, but I do think that this is a fun product. I think that with the right application, it looks really pretty and skin-like. There are certainly other items on the market that will give you a similar look, but this one is certainly fun. I will say with this shade in particular, the shade Chill, either benetint or the Love Tint is probably going to give you a similar look to this shade in particular, which I think is sold out right now. The shade Cherry from Undone is also pretty similar. Actually, let me give you guys a quick swatch. I think that'll be helpful. I'm gonna do it on the palm of my hand. So this is the shade Chill from Milk Makeup. This is the shade Cherry from Undone Beauty. Right next to it, you can see that is a very similar shade, but I did have to build this up, whereas, you know, it was one swipe of the one from Milk Makeup. So Milk Makeup, Undone Beauty. We have benetint right here. Love Tint, which does have a little bit more creaminess to it. I think especially if you've tried benetint and you're like, I wanted more pigment and an even longer lasting tint, I think you can move up to Love Tint and get that. And then I might as well give you a swatch of one of the Rituel de Fille balms, even though this is not the same shade profile, but right at the end, we had the shade Bee Sting, which is right there. So those are all the swatches for you guys. I really hope this was helpful. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really helps me get a better idea of the specific videos that you guys find helpful. So thank you for that feedback, and I will see you all in my next one.